going to take a look now at how to handle missed or omitted assignments in the gradebook in Edsby. So we're looking here at a sample gradebook, and just to give us some scores to work from, we have one assessment here that happens to be out of 10 points. We've gone ahead and given everybody a perfect score. And the question is, if we have students that have skipped an assignment, for example, what do we want to do with that? How do we want to record that? Well, this is really interesting because it's really an intersection of both policy and technology. So the technology here will support pretty much whatever policy you have. Note that as I update the grades for this new, or I enter marks for the second assignment, right, Edsby is going to calculate these averages for me. So I can see that if the student has an 8 and a 10, their overall average is 90. Well, with a missed assignment, I might choose to give a student a 0. So you'll see for Leslie, she has now a 10 and a 0, right? And this averages to 50%. And that's perfectly fine, right? If we want to go ahead and assign 0 for that missed work, we can do that. Just enter a 0. It's all well and good. If we don't want to affect the grade, if we essentially want to omit or drop that grade, there's no problem at all just leaving it empty. Edsby will ignore that in the calculations. I can still share my other grades, right? So my other students might have, whatever it might be, right? 8s and 10s and 9s. And I can still share this, and Leslie will not receive a grade. It won't affect her average at all. But, in the gradebook, I've just got sort of an empty spot there. In order for me to have a reminder for myself that this wasn't an accident, I can use the status dropdown. And I might want to indicate this as excused with an X, which just tells me I didn't forget this. The X is the reminder that I've gone ahead and excused that particular assignment. We're not going to count it against Leslie. I can also take the step of explicitly dropping something from the average. So if I come back to this and I say drop from average, we get the hash marks there. Either of those is a good indicator to me that this wasn't a mistake. This was me explicitly omitting this and not wanting to include it in the grade. So for numeric grades, we have a lot of really good control, fine control over what we want to have happen there. What about a situation where instead of letter grades, instead of number grades, we are using letter grades? This is interesting because every letter grade that we assign, right, so if I come here and we look at letter grades, you'll see I've got choices of A, B, C, D, F, and we have an I for insufficient evidence in this case. And every letter grade carries its own percentage behind the scenes. So if I give the student an A, in this particular school, an A happens to have a value of 95. So when we average a 95 and a 100 together, the student is now getting a 97.5 in that particular class. And I can go in and I can say, A, B, right, C, F, etc. Now, even a failing grade in this class, a failing grade in this example happens to confer 50%. So we average an F with a 10, and they're now getting a grade of 75%. So this is something that you need to be aware of. This is really going to be based on your school's policy as to what we're going to grant, how many points we're going to grant if somebody has an F. Interestingly, in this particular example, we also have this I for insufficient evidence, and you'll notice that the I is treated as an omitted grade, so it doesn't affect the grade at all if we use that. In some schools, rather than I meaning insufficient evidence, you might want an I to mean incomplete, or a U for unsubmitted, or whatever it might be. Those could be values that carry a 0 that would behave just the same way as if I were to put a 0 in here on the numeric scale. So hopefully this helps give you choices for how you want to handle missed assessments. If there are things that you need in your grade schemas that are not already part of your grade schema, if you do need a U for unsubmitted that has a weight of 0, please talk with your school administrators and submit that as a ticket. We can certainly get that set up for you. Thanks so much.